So you've been saving up for a down payment, you're ready to buy your first house. However, did you know that there are a couple upfront costs when you're buying a house that you need to be prepared for too? Today we'll cover what those are so you can make sure that you are ready to go. Hey, I'm Ashley. I'm a realtor here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I love educating and helping first-time homebuyers and sellers so that they can be very prepared and successful whenever they do decide to buy and sell. So today I just want to touch base about some of the upfront costs to buying a home. Sure, you'll hear everywhere about the down payment that you're going to need, the closing costs that you might have, but there are some upfront costs as well that you need to be prepared for whenever it does come time to buy. All right, so the first one that we're going to cover is going to be the earnest money deposit, hand money deposit, good faith deposit. It has a couple of different names, but basically this is the money that you're willing to put up front to show the seller that you are serious about buying the house. I almost consider it kind of like layaway. You'll put up this deposit up front. In Pennsylvania, it's within 5 days of your offer being accepted, but it goes into an escrow account and it's held there until you actually close on the home. When you close, it does get put towards your closing costs at the end of the day. But that money is there just in case something would go wrong during the transaction and you would decide to terminate for some reason that wasn't covered under contract. In the event that that would happen, then the seller would get to retain that hand money. So as a buyer, there is a chance that you risk that money if you would terminate for some reason that is not covered under a contingency in the contract. And there's a couple different caveats and things to that. And I don't want to get into all of that too much right now, but just being aware that this is something that you will need to have upfront whenever you are putting an offer on a home. In Pennsylvania, the typical deposit is about 1% to 2% of the purchase price, but that can vary from market to market. Different markets have different expectations, so you'd have to check with your realtor about that. But here in Pittsburgh, it's typically 1% to 2%. The second thing is going to be inspections. So if you are electing to have inspections done during your contract period, that's something that you as a buyer are going to pay for out of pocket ahead of time. There are some inspection companies that will let you pay out at closing, but for the most part, they do expect to have payment before they'll release reports to you. So inspection costs can vary obviously from company to company and depending on what all inspections you are electing to do. So your typical home inspection may be around like $350, but if you're adding on a pest inspection, radon, a survey, checking into well or septic, sewer line inspections, anything like that, everything has an additional cost that will add up. And depending on what all inspections you do, we'll let you know how much money you're going to have to save up and put out for that. The third upfront cost you're going to have is your appraisal. So this is only if you are getting a mortgage. Your lender will typically require that you have an appraisal. There are some exceptions to that, but the overwhelming majority of people do have to have an appraisal if you're getting a mortgage. If you are a cash buyer, you don't necessarily have to have an appraisal unless you want to have one done just to make sure that the home appraises at the purchase price that you've agreed to. But the appraisal is anywhere from like $500 to $600, depending again on the lender, the company that they're using, the appraiser that you choose, etc. But that's again another upfront cost that you have to be aware of that's expected to be paid ahead of time before you'd ever get to the closing table. So those are the three most common: your deposit, inspections, and the appraisal. Again, they can all kind of vary, but it just is to give you a general idea of some things that you need to be prepared for upfront and be ready to spend the money on whenever you're in that contract period. If you have any other questions about that or comments, please leave them below. Make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any future educational videos that I have for you about the home buying and selling process. You also can check out my website, www.pittsburgh-realtor.com, where I have a lot of free resources for buyers and sellers and even just homeowners there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.